Media focused heavily on gun control in the wake of the Orlando massacre. The Boston Globe getting lots of attention for this front page with an AR-15 rifle, and Senate Democrats mounting a filibuster to force a vote on the issue.
It seems hard to justify, but people on that terror list are still allowed to buy weapons.
The deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history continues to have a ripple effect in Washington. Growing calls among Democrats and now some Republicans for new gun control measures, including Donald Trump, who says he plans to meet with the NRA.
We're back with the panel. Kelly Riddell, of course, this Daily News cover. Thanks, NRA. With the Orlando killer legally buying an assault-style rifle, and despite the 2 FBI investigations and the Senate filibuster, is the press tilting toward a tightening of gun control?
Oh, I think there's no question about that. I mean, did you know that more people in the U.S. got killed on an annual basis by blunt objects like hammers and clubs than they did rifles?
Right, but stick to the narrow issue of...
So basically, I mean, there's no question that they want to push a gun control narrative out there, and that's something that Hillary Clinton wants. That's something that Barack Obama wants. And so this press is sympathetic to those causes, and of course are going to be pushing this narrative much like they have after every, you know, mass shooting that there is. And there's a Second Amendment right here, whether they like it or not. There's Fifth Amendment of due process, whether they like it or not, and these are constitutional issues that need to be talked about in the press.
Julie Roginski, it's hard to argue that the media aren't covering President Obama and Hillary Clinton as sort of the good guys in this gun control debate, particularly now that it's narrowed to such questions as if you're on a no-fly list, if you're on a terror watch list, or certain kinds of background checks.
Well, I think you're right about the due process aspect of gun control. That's something that's important. Having said that, it's not just Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton. It's people like Susan Collins. It's people like Pat Toomey. It's Republican after Republican. It's people like Donald Trump who said this week that we might take a look at that.
What about the point about whether or not the press seems to be sort of rooting for one side here?
You know, I feel like there's two different kinds of press in this country now. There's the press like this that you're talking about, and there's the conservative press that's talking consistently about terrorism, and that just signifies a divide among our political body that also is part of our process in the media. You know, the media you no longer have a quote-unquote mainstream media that espouses a unbiased view. You have the Daily News, which granted is a tabloid, talking about what they're talking about, and then you have people on the right in the media who obviously talk about something very different and talk about terrorism.
Well, we should talk about all these issues, is my view. But Heidi Presbella, Donald Trump did sort of break with Republican orthodoxy. I mean, here's the presumptive nominee saying, essentially backing the idea of making it difficult for people on the no-fly list or the terror watch list to buy guns. Media didn't seem to give him much credit on that.
I was shocked by that. This is 100% major. As someone who covered the gun control issue in Congress, no Republican does this. And I think it's partly an indication of probably why a lot of his voters like him, because he had a genuine gut reaction. Probably a lot of people, maybe even Donald Trump, didn't know that people on the no-fly list can get weapons, and he had this genuine reaction. But I also want to clarify something from the first segment, Howie. I am not blaming U.S. society for homegrown terrorists at all. What I am saying is we need to ask more questions about how we can do a better job of identifying these troubled individuals with a documented history, troubled history, who are attaching themselves to these ideologies, which are kind of inconsistent, but they all are terroristic in nature.
Now, to get back to the NRA point, I think that it's extremely unfair. Of course, the NRA does not want terrorists to have guns, and the insinuation of that by the mainstream media has been gross. Now, John Cornyn has a bill in the Senate, which a lot of Republicans are gathering around, which basically allows the DOJ to have 72 hours to investigate these people who are on the terror watch list, gives them the due process, and then says if there's probable cause that they're going to commit a crime, to deny them these weapons. So it's an unfair narrative that the media is pushing, that Republicans want some reason want terrorists to have guns. That's absolutely false.
Yeah, I don't think everyone in the media is pushing that. I do think that that's a good debate, that amendment you mentioned, and whether it goes far enough does justice need more than 72 hours. But you know, we've had this debate in the media going back to Newtown and before. And usually we talk about it, everyone writes about it, and it ends in gridlock.
Look, we'll see if this time is different. I don't think this time is different. The Democrats obviously filibustered this in order to get some concessions to have a vote on the floor. Let's see where this goes. The reality is that we have these debates consistently after every horrible tragedy, and yet people are still able to get weapons, though they're on the no-fly list. And again, I do share with you the due process aspect of this, but whether it's Senator Feinstein, who I think is a good solution to this, or others, there's got to be a way to address this without having to go back to the drawing board after every single time.
Got to wrap it up there. Julie Roginski, Kelly Riddell, Heidi Presbella, thanks for stopping by this Sunday. More now.